Hi, I'm Saren Coach with Alt Legal, and I'm here today with Anna Chang, an associate at Seidman and Bancroft in San Francisco, who specializes in intellectual property law. Anna has joined us today to talk about esports. So let's get started with some questions.
Thank you so much for joining us, Anna. The first question is, let's start with some background on esports. Can you tell us what is esports?
So esports is a comprehensive term referring to competitive video games. So as long as there have been multiplayer games, people have wanted to prove that they're the best. But what started out for many as maybe playing on a couch with a sibling or going to a local arcade has exploded in the last decade into a billion-dollar industry worldwide. So now we have tournaments with multi-million-dollar prize pools that are broadcast with the same production value as many traditional sports events, with many millions of viewers all across the globe. We have players being paid six-figure salaries, teams partnering with household name brands and training out of state-of-the-art facilities, and franchise leagues with multi-million-dollar buy-ins. And it's still a young and growing industry, and a lot of people want in.
Great, thanks. So our next question, what are some of the most popular games in esports?
So just like the term sports captures a lot of different games such as basketball, football, golf, gymnastics, so does the term esports. Some of the most popular esports titles include first-person shooter games such as Counter-Strike, Overwatch, Fortnite, and Call of Duty. MOBAs, which stands for Multiplayer Online Battle Arenas, such as Dota 2 and League of Legends, and fighting games such as Super Smash Bros., Street Fighter, and Tekken.
Okay, great. And where is esports broadcast? And can you tell us what is Twitch?
So esports are usually broadcast on Twitch, which is an online video streaming platform that's completely free to watch. If you go to twitch.tv, there's an esports tab there, and that will pull up live matches for almost all of the top esports, which is a great way for people who are interested in the industry but maybe don't know as much to get plugged in.
Great. Can you explain how people are investing in teams?
Sure. So the esports industry is gaining a lot of attention, and teams are getting investments from traditional venture capital firms, celebrities, professional athletes. Several traditional sports teams have also started operating their own esports teams. For example, the Golden State Warriors operates a League of Legends team called the Golden Guardians. Teams are also attracting a lot of big name sponsors from other brands. Initially, a lot of sponsorships in the industry covered, gaming peripherals, keyboards, mice makers, energy drink makers. But now a lot of non-endemic brands such as Adidas, Marvel Entertainment, Chipotle are all partnering with esports teams. So there's a lot of interest and there's a lot of money coming in.
Really cool. So what sort of IP issues are you seeing in relation to esports?
Despite the huge growth of the esports industry, I found that there's a lot of weaknesses in terms of trademark registration and brand protection. So even out of the top teams, very few even have a trademark portfolio. And at best, it's maybe, a handful of registrations in a few countries. So there's definitely room to grow and improve in that area. And there might be a lot of reasons for that. So for example, esports is very grassroots. It started off before everything kind of blew up. It started off as just people bringing their computers to a conference room or playing a game together. And the esports industry also in general tends to skew younger. So there's a lot of times there is a lack of understanding or maybe education about why trademark registrations and brand protection is important. Another reason why brand protection may be not as prioritized is that the revenue structure is very top heavy in esports. And even with some of the top teams, people are still working out their road to profitability. So the cost, or maybe the perceived cost of getting a trademark registration, could be a hurdle. But as the industry continues to grow and get more sophisticated, I anticipate that teams will start to focus on brand protection and trademark registration, given how much value a team name could have now. But right now, it's still an area that can be improved.
Absolutely. Next question. What types of marks are lawyers trademarking in relation to esports, and who are the owners?
So I would say definitely for teams, the team name and the team logo are the two most important marks to get registered right away. Some individual players may also want to look into registering their gamer tag or their in-game username as a trademark, depending on, how famous their name is.
And then who are the owners?
So the owners would be for the team names, it would be the teams themselves, the organizations, and for the players, they would obviously own their own trademark for their gamer tag and maybe licensing it to or working with their organization or team to monetize that.
Okay, great. Where should attorneys be looking to file trademark applications in relation to esports?
So the big jurisdictions I would recommend looking into are the United States, China, and the EU, which is where esports are very popular. There are, of course, different factors. For example, depends on the esport, depends on where the organization or the individual lives or is located, and things like that. So it really is very organization or individual dependent, but esports in general is a global industry. All you need is a computer and an internet connection, and you can participate in esports. So for the industry as a whole, having a global trademark portfolio is definitely something to keep an eye on.
Definitely. In what trademark classes should attorneys be looking to file trademark applications in relation to esports?
So the primary class would be class 41 for entertainment services. Teams could also look into class 25 for clothing or other classes for related merchandise, with class 9 for computer peripherals such as mice, keyboards, being also a common one, given that that's an easy brand partnership licensing arrangement for a lot of these teams. It's, getting registrations across a broad number of classes is especially important for combating trademark squatters and also enforcement in the anti-counterfeiting context.
Right. Why is it important to conduct clearance searches for team names or gamer tags?
So it's important to conduct clearance searches because you don't want to be investing your time, your energy, and your resources into a brand that you ultimately can't establish rights in and can't protect. So securing trademark registrations and taking a look at what's on the register before you is really important for that. For teams, sometimes it's hard because things in esports happen really quickly. Sometimes when you're just starting out, you don't have enough time or maybe funds to invest in doing a clearance search, or there's just kind of a general understanding that, oh, if there's not a team called X, then it's okay for me to use the name Team X. But in reality, we know the USPTO, when they examine applications for registration, the analysis is much broader than that. And so it's better to do, your due diligence and conduct a clearance search early on or as early as possible, so that you can kind of see what's out there and build a brand protection strategy. Similarly, though, for individual players, it might be a little difficult given that a lot of esports professionals, they start playing their games using their gamer tags when they're early teens. And so by the time that they make it as a professional, they've already probably been using their name and building brand equity in their name for years. And even then, while maybe a rebrand or a rename wouldn't be feasible, at least having an idea of what else is out there lets you see what challenges or opportunities a certain gamer tag or brand may have.
Definitely great advice there. So the last question, what are some bar associations and organizations to join if you want to get more involved with the esports community or find clients?
Great question. So first of all, social media is huge for esports. So the easiest way before even joining any bar associations is just getting on Twitter. You have so much direct access to any number of esports teams, players, organizations, just out there. So to get plugged in via social media, I would say is very important. There is an esports bar association, which I am a part of, which it's a relatively new organization, but it's a great way to meet fellow attorneys who are working in the esports space. And then I guess the last thing would just be to be engaged. You don't have to be an expert on every single game. You don't have to know the complete history of esports. But being interested in learning and having a basic understanding of how the industry works, what are the popular games, what are the popular teams, that goes a long way.
That's really helpful. Thank you so much. So those are all the questions I have for today. Thank you so much for joining us, Anna, and for your very helpful insight.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.